Chad Johnson guarantees Shedeur Sanders will get someone fired in debut. Shedeur Sanders will make his preseason debut for the Cleveland Browns in Game 1 despite being listed at 4th on the depth chart. Chad Johnson guarantees success. The sports show host's prediction could have major impacts on the QB room. Dillon Gabriel or Kenny Pickett might soon be jobless if it comes to fruition. Sanders' story is known by now. The star Colorado signal caller fell to the 5th round of the NFL draft following initial first-round buzz. He was the second passer selected by the Browns last April. He's now one of 6 QBs on the roster, though only 5 are active. Despite positive reviews throughout fall camp, Sanders is buried on the depth chart behind Pickett, Gabriel, and expected starter Joe Flacco, that he hasn't taken many first-team reps. Injuries, though, have provided the opportunity to see significant playing time ahead of his rookie season. Shedeur Sanders will start for the Cleveland Browns. The team takes its first snap on Friday against the Carolina Panthers. Sanders will be under center. Given the current situation in Cleveland, the signal caller has been named the starter for that debut. Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel are nursing minor injuries. Deshaun Watson anticipates being sidelined for most of the year. With Flacco expected to be the Week 1 starter in the regular season, he'll likely be held out of preseason action. Sanders is the next man up. He and new addition Tyler Huntley will play against the Panthers. They'll split time across those 4 quarters, though specifics on workload have not been unveiled. Nevertheless, he will get his shot. Can Sanders move up the depth chart? As it currently stands, the rookie is the 4th option. It should be his goal to unseat his competitors, according to Shannon Sharpe. "You know what my mindset is if I'm Shedeur?" he rhetorically asked. Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel are about to get some permanent rest. Chad Johnson followed up. "I told you he was going to get his opportunity. I didn't know it would come this fast. Joe Flacco's going to be the starter. I said, if things aren't going well for Joe Flacco, Shedeur will get his opportunities." Both Johnson and Sharpe are excited to see Shedeur Sanders in live action. They believe he'll succeed. In fact, Ocho guarantees it. Sanders will get the chance to make an impression on the coaching staff. If he can effectively lead the Browns' offense, it might give him a leg up in the quarterback race. The sports hosts reference the story of Wally Pipp, who famously lost his starting role with the Yankees to Lou Gehrig while sidelined. Will a similar scenario play out in Cleveland? If Sanders does play well in Pickett and Gabriel's absence, it could certainly impact job security. The QB room is currently crowded. The team will soon need to cut the roster to 53 players. GM Andrew Berry left the door open on potentially keeping all 4 passers, though 3 is typically the magic number. Whichever player is number 4 on the depth chart will, at the very least, be sweating come cut day. Sanders' success might just result in one quarterback being fired, released, before the 25 season. NFL legend Chad Johnson rarely bites his tongue, and this time, he didn't even blink before delivering a scorching prediction. Standing under the blistering August sun at a Cleveland Browns joint practice, surrounded by a storm of media and fans, the former Bengals star issued a promise that instantly went viral. "I guarantee Shedeur Sanders is going to get somebody fired in his preseason debut." The cameras clicked. Reporters leaned in. Even a few Browns coaches side-eyed the bold proclamation, uncertain whether to laugh, ignore it, or take cover. But Chad wasn't joking. The rise of Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, the highly touted rookie quarterback and son of Deion coach Prime Sanders, came into the Browns facility with a legacy stitched into his jersey and a chip heavier than any playbook on his shoulder. Drafted by Cleveland amid skepticism, high expectations, and a QB room already crowded with veteran names like Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, Shedeur had one shot to prove himself worthy: the preseason opener against the Carolina Panthers. Fans were eager. Critics were louder. And somewhere in the nosebleeds, Chad Johnson was already texting, "I told you so" tweets before kickoff even began. The guarantee. When reporters followed up on Chad's "someone's getting fired" statement, he didn't backpedal like a corner in cover 2. "Look, I've watched this kid throw since he was in high school. The moment ain't too big for him. He's going to go out there, light it up, embarrass somebody, whether it's a defensive coordinator, a starting DB, or a scout who told his GM to pass on him. Someone's job security is going to take a real hit after Saturday." He ended the interview by tossing a bag of popcorn into the air and walking off. Vintage Akasinko. Preseason game day. The lights at First Energy Stadium weren't supposed to feel this bright in August. But Shedeur's debut drew headlines like it was January. Cameras zoomed in on him during warm-ups. He was calm, unbothered, focused. Wearing number 5, black visor gleaming, he looked like a quarterback molded in an NFL lab. Coach Stefanski kept it simple. We just want him to manage the game, make good decisions. But Shedeur had other plans. First drive, warning shot. First play from scrimmage, Shedeur dropped back and fired a 28-yard missile on a deep out to Cedric Tillman. The crowd roared. Even the Panthers' sideline raised eyebrows. The next play? A designed rollout turned scramble. Shedeur pump faked, then tucked it and ran for 14 yards, sliding like a seasoned vet. By the end of the drive, he'd gone 5-4, 5 with a touchdown strike to a practice squad receiver who hadn't caught a ball in 2 camps. Second drive, the statement. The Panthers' defensive coordinator, veteran play caller Dave Boyce, had seen enough. He called in an exotic nickel blitz, something that would rattle a rookie. It didn't. Shedeur read it pre-snap, shifted the protection, and delivered a 43-yard strike on a post route to a tight end who wasn't even supposed to play. Touchdown. Again. Akasinko stood up from the stands and yelled, "I told y'all," loud enough to make ESPN's broadcast. The camera caught Panthers HC Gus Bradley shaking his head. Boyce stared at his play sheet like it had betrayed him personally. Halftime, whispers turned to roars. By the half, Shedeur had gone 13 of 15 for 198 yards and 3 touchdowns, in his first ever NFL appearance. Twitter exploded. Former players were tweeting. Colin Cowherd was already crafting Monday's segment. And in the tunnel, a visibly irritated Panthers GM was overheard saying, "Why didn't we even interview him before the draft?" Meanwhile, Chad Johnson? He just smiled and typed 5 words into X. Someone's badge won't skin Monday. Aftermath, the fallout. Sunday morning, news broke that Panthers defensive coordinator Dave Boyce had been relieved of his duties. The team's statement was vague. "We appreciate Coach Boyce's service and wish him well." But insiders told a different story. The film from that Browns game was all the owner needed, one source said. "We were out-schemed by a rookie quarterback with less than a month of NFL reps." Shedeur's name trended all day. Sports shows debated where he should rank in the Browns' depth chart. Joe Flacco gave a no comment when asked if Shedeur should start Week 1. Akasinko's prediction had come true, and fast.